Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a genuinely fascinating and honestly highly specific worldview laid out in an intriguing essay by an author named Shuifeng. We're going to objectively map out his framework regarding the unseen forces that he believes completely control human existence. It's a very unique cosmology, and we're going to break the whole thing down so you can see exactly how all these ideas connect.
To make this complex philosophy easy to grasp, we'll follow a quick roadmap. First, the unseen forces shaping us, then our physical and social environments, followed by spiritual and karmic influences, the mystery of mathematics, and finally, what he calls the Lifechanyuan solution. Let's get right into it. Section 1. Unseen forces shaping us. This establishes the core premise of invisible manipulation and really sets the baseline for the entire framework.
So Shuifeng anchors his whole essay on a pretty bold claim. He proposes that there are exactly 8 mysterious external factors constantly pulling the strings in our daily lives. Not 7, not 9, but exactly 8 distinct forces. And he argues that these govern literally everything, from our physical health to our daily luck and even our overarching destiny.
It all boils down to this core assumption from the text. Everything has spirituality. Basically, Shuifeng suggests that absolutely nothing is random. Instead, there's this deep spiritual undercurrent connecting all of our everyday realities. You really have to view the rest of his arguments through this specific lens. Moving on to Section 2, Physical and Social Environments. This is where we ground the esoteric right into the tangible world. Shuifeng groups these earthly influences into 3 specific buckets: feng shui, solar radiation, and socio-ecological environments. He argues that together they form a physical and social web that completely shapes our health, our geography, and our cultural consciousness. Now, his definition of feng shui is wild because it goes way beyond just rearranging your living room furniture. He expands it to include your geographical atmosphere, the chemical makeup of your water, like whether it's alkaline or acidic, and even hidden veins flowing underground. In fact, he proposes that the ultimate cure for chronic illnesses, like arthritis, is simply packing up and relocating to a new environment every 3 years to avoid long-term damage. Then there's solar radiation. The author argues that our ancestral latitude strictly dictates our physical traits and health needs today. For instance, if your ancestors lived near the tropics, the intense ultraviolet exposure resulted in darker skin, whereas proximity to the poles resulted in lighter skin. He presents this as a strict biological necessity for proper vitamin D production, something we have to actively manage by seeking out our perfect ancestral amount of sun exposure. The essay also draws a really sharp line when it comes to our socio-ecological environment. It argues that the culture, beliefs, and values surrounding us are absolutely critical to our consciousness. A good environment fosters deep awareness. But being trapped in a bad culture? Well, he claims that leaves a person so deeply ignorant that they literally become incapable of distinguishing a fragrance from a stench. Okay, Section 3, Spiritual and Karmic Influences. We are now stepping straight out of the physical world and into the ethereal realm of fate and curses. Within this ethereal realm, he outlines 4 karmic influences acting as an invisible web: gods and deities, grievances and curses, ancestral virtues and sins, and destiny trajectories. Together, these form the metaphysical counterpart to the physical web we just talked about.
To navigate this web safely, the text gets incredibly specific. Want to climb a mountain? You've got to pray directly to the mountain gods for protection first. Crossing a river? Pray to the river gods. It even states that if you take the time to actively soothe and comfort the local trees, insects, and beasts around your home, it essentially guarantees you won't face misfortune. Ever wonder why you hit a rough patch in life? Well, the text argues you need to look backward. It sets up a clear dichotomy. You have to figure out whether your ancestors left you virtuous karma, which allows you to naturally flourish, or sin karma, which causes inevitable decline. According to Shuifeng, your life's trajectory just won't change until you identify and remedy this ancestral baggage.
The author then issues a really severe warning about curses. He describes them as these incredibly powerful, silent thought energies. He actually believes that a secret act, like cutting an underground vein or tampering with a grave, can lead to sudden disasters and even the total extinction of entire families and nations. So it all comes back to that age-old question regarding what he calls destiny trajectories. Why am I so lucky or unlucky? He doesn't view these things as random chance, but as established arrangements caused by past life merits and 18 unmanageable factors. And to change this established path, he says it requires intense, dedicated self-cultivation. Section 4. The Mystery of Mathematics. This introduces what is probably the most surprisingly rigid universal rule in the whole essay. According to Xu Feng, the power of math is absolute. It dictates symmetry and proportion across the entire universe, manifesting in the perfect beauty of the golden section. He claims this mathematical balance actually determines the length of your lifespan. The more symmetrical a life is, the healthier it is. The second math falls out of balance, he warns, life quickly decays and dies. And he applies this rigid math to the most mundane details of daily living. We're talking about the exact height of your house and precisely how big your doors and windows must be just to maintain harmony with the universe. But it doesn't stop at the architecture. Get this, he claims this invisible force even governs your closet space, specifically the exact number of clothes and shoes you are permitted to own. Literally one too many pairs of sneakers and the universal balance is broken. The required mathematical balance extends right into your kitchen and dining room, heavily influencing the exact height of your tables and your cooking stoves. Every single dimension you interact with must strictly follow the math. It drills down even further. Xu Feng claims that simply having the wrong mathematical amount of plates, forks, or chopsticks in a kitchen can literally make everything in your life go against your will. The right math brings harmony, the wrong math brings absolute friction. Finally, Section 5, the Lifechanyuan solution. Let's see how the author attempts to synthesize all of this overwhelming complexity. By combining those original 8 factors, Xu Feng claims there are actually 64 permutations at play, creating this massive astronomical puzzle for humanity. Because it's practically impossible to fix one of these factors without messing up another, he argues there is only one method to navigate it all, adopting what he calls the path of Lifechanyuan. So as we wrap up this explainer on Xu Feng's highly specific and intricate framework, I'll leave you with a final thought to ponder. From the underground veins and the mountain gods to the exact mathematical number of shoes sitting in your closet right now, how many of these invisible forces do you feel pulling the strings in your own life? Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive. Keep learning, and I'll see you next time.